Hello everybody, I was a bit late with announcing this live stream. Very busy here in the studio, working on new products and working on Vecto, making it Anchor-S compatible. It will be soon, very soon, sent in for review by Native Instruments, and then you can see a keyboard here. Then you also can use the Anchor-S system for controlling Vecto. With the Anchor-S system, you don't use the presets which are up here, the preset or own browser. You don't use that with Native Instruments. You go to the left there, you click on the library. Each preset has a little preview, which makes then, of course, the Anchor-S install a bit bigger compared to the regular one. But the advantage of it is if you go to the next preset, you hear a little audition. So so maybe it's good that I show a bit what we did in Vecto for this this type of users. There are of course some users on this planet which use this keyboard or the machine too. And maybe if you know Vecto, maybe you see something different inside of it, because this is already a updated version. What we did is we updated a bit this dial here. So if you see this semi in oscillator 1, the mid position is a bit better. So that makes it a better readable that this dial has a negative and a positive amount. So, and the other thing what we will have in the new version is that, for instance, this oscillator 1 uses X metal, which is a noise sound. So let's play this. Well, on a noise sound, you cannot change the symmetry because it's on the sample sound, you cannot change the symmetry of the sample. So here you can see this function is fade out, the letters are fade out, and also SMA, which stands for symmetry modulation amount, is also fade out. But you still have panning. The sub oscillator can use still with the with the samples. You still can use, for instance, on this noise. So you see on the right it goes to the square, going to the left you have a sinus waveform. So that you still can use on a sample. So the user interface is a bit optimized so that it helps you to understand the product. Because if you would maybe in the current version would see a sample and would change this one, nothing happens because it's not active on a sample. So if I would turn this here again in a regular waveform, let's say a square waveform, then you see SMAs, which stand for symmetry modulation amount, and you connect it to the speed. Then this pops up. So if I have a square here, I can do the symmetry modulation or change the symmetry here. Also spread, which makes from one oscillator a 2 oscillator setup in Vecto, is active. And this is not active on samples because some of these samples are already 2 layers. Sometimes it's really a stereo sample. So if you have these strings, if I'm not wrong, this one would be a stereo. Well, I'm not 100% sure about it, but yeah. And if you would use that on the samples also spread, that would make the CPU go up quite a bit. So also on the samples, the spread is not used. The other thing what we will have in this newer version, and we hope to have it available in the end of March, somewhere in March, is that we have then a big screen, which you see currently, but we also will start having a 200% screen with Vecto, which means that if you run 4K, normally you would blow up your plug-in normal size to twice the size. That's what they do regularly on the 4K. But then you also could pick, instead of that, you could pick in Vecto the 200% version. So this is for the 4K users, 4K screens. Okay, so, well, if you see here, I can click, double click Angel Storm again. So then it loads again the preset as it is. And so let me show you what we have here. So if you have the complete control, very shortly, what I did in the layout is, you see, you can control the X and Y by using these dials. So I can move now, for instance, the X. Nothing happens, so I need to put on the vector then. So it depends on the preset if the XY will work. So the vector mode needs to be on, or the XY should be addressed otherwise. In the so this is a parameter depending on the type of sound. So if I would go here to 2 bars to move, I could increase the speed. You see this dial? Or change the sync value. So here you have the sync value. So we have quite some pages lined up for the NKS setup. But of course, once we release that, I want to make a little tutorial about what we did with the lineup. Yeah, the 200% version, that's a good one. But with that, we do anyhow. If you go, because we had some people who had by accident the big screen version. This one is the big screen, which is on some screens already too big. Not on a regular screen, but still quite big. My screen is 1440 pixels high. So here you can see then, if you go in the preset menu, you can go to set to normal screen, set to big screen. So here you can also select. So if you did something wrong, you always can go in this preset menu and set it back. We add that to all the products. So in the preset section, there you can see set to normal screen, set to big screen. So in case it's too big and you cannot turn back, because in general, you click on the logo and you go down here and there you can select the big screen. So this so far about the NKS version, which is going to be released. We have then also in this version most likely some new presets, and so this is the wrong page, sorry. And okay, let's open here. This is the regular Vecto without the complete control part, so here we can continue today. So let me see. I'm checking the chat room in case of questions. Just let us know. I keep an eye on it. So the other good news is that we updated Prisma, and Prisma is a host. Essentially, it's a host. It's a plugin which can load the Ropapen products. And currently, we don't have presets which use Vecto, but yeah, it's also what you can do yourself, of course, with using Prisma. And the workflow I suggest would be like this. So you go, for instance, you go here and you download the latest version. We had a little bug, so really download the latest version because we had a bug with this multi-control system here. So here you can select Vecto, and if Vecto doesn't pop up, go to the back panel and click here, rescan plugins. So sometimes people install Prisma again and have Vecto installed, but they don't see Vecto appearing here. But then you need to do a little rescan and then it shows up. And on the PC, you also need the VST folder. So maybe you use a different folder than the default folder. What we use is program files, Steinberg, VST plugins, Ropapen. But if you use a different folder, then of course you need to set that folder also so that Prisma sees the plugins. And you see the latest version here is 1.02F. That's the one you need to have. It's only 64-bit. We stopped doing the 32-bit version because Prisma already uses a bit more memory. And with 64-bit, you can have maximum use of your RAM memory. And I think that currently in this time, only a few people are still on 32-bit. I think most users are using 64-bit. So hopefully, maybe within 2 years, we can stop making 32-bit versions for the PC. On Mac, we are already doing 64-bit only. Okay, so now I have Prisma here, and Prisma has several pages. You have layers in which you can do some keyboard layout stuff and additional EQ, some MIDI filtering. So here it's about this layer. You have already some controls. There are 4 FX on board which you can use. Yeah, the manager is of course the preset manager. Now I'm in the default preset, so so here is the multi-control page again. So what I do now is simply I go in Vecto and I still can open it. So I can open Vecto here. And if you think it's faster to search here for a nice preset as starting point, then you pick here somewhere a preset. So let's see. We simply pick one preset. Monks Arrive we could take, or yeah, whatever. I just take one. Okay. You need to. So this is Vecto. And I could say, okay, this is a nice preset. What I could do to save a bit of CPU is to go inside Vecto. Although the CPU usage it's okay. I see the chorus is used and the delay. That doesn't make not much difference if you would use instead of this the delay inside Prisma. So we keep that as it is. If it would be a reverb, you could decide to use the reverb of Prisma instead. So I keep this as it is. Then I go to what I can do. Maybe because you only use Vecto, or Vecto is your first Rapapen synthesizer, I could say pick another Vecto. I shut down the first one because I want to hear this one solo. I also could, of course, click solo here and I open again and I check for another sound. So let's see what we could take. Maybe from the synth sounds. Let's see what we have. Yeah, this one I could take. I just pick it. And then we just see how this combines together. So now I have 2 sounds. I put off the solo and I combine 2 sounds together. I can control the volume, just so. Keep in mind that this is of course the same as if you would have 2 tracks with Vecto playing. So in terms of CPU usage, it's simply the same as having 2 instances. So in the meantime, I'm checking here the a few people joining in. Yes, hello everybody. Yeah, as mentioned very often, you always can check this live stream back in the playlist on YouTube, which is called live streams. So in case you missed something, you can always check the start of check it on a later date. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And there seems to be a bit of changes with YouTube. If you want to really notified by getting that there is a new YouTube video, you need to click this bell symbol somewhere. And so you could do that. And of course, each week, normally I do a live stream with a given theme. Last week and this one, you can look back again. It was about the string model, which we use in Sublime Bass 2. We talked an hour about Sublime Bass 2, which was 28th of February. We talked about that one. So that one you still could check out because somebody did ask about it. And so that's also the plan for the future in case you say, okay, Rob, maybe an idea to talk about this particular product in the next week or in 2 weeks. Because next week I'm not here in Netherlands, I'm in Germany. So the next live stream will be in about 2 weeks. But then, yes, simply mention your idea if you have an idea about a live stream on Facebook, or just here in the chat room if you have a particular idea. So now we are back to Prisma. Prisma is a product which you can request if you did register, for instance, Vecto, and Vecto is your first instrument. Then you go to My Products, you can request Prisma. You also can request RPA mod, which is a very nice FX. And these products will be installed, are free products. And what we did now, because Prisma currently doesn't have many presets which use Vecto, what I did now is just simply using 2 presets and combine them together as one preset in Prisma. Okay, I still can do solo. What is a nice trick what you can do yourself, because I simply stack now 2 sounds, and maybe you think this sound is maybe a bit too full. Just shut down one of the oscillators and see what happens. Okay, I shut down one oscillator here. Let's see what is in this one. That has a... So I keep that one as it is, and I combine this together now. So this is layer 1, this is layer 2. This is the multi-control page, so I still can go to the layers page. Then you see that we have in this layer page the easy edit. The easy edit is essentially we did a default setting, which a range of parameters you also can change here. So I did add it in the preset itself, but you also can add it here, which is a range of parameters. And these parameters we also going to use later on with the multi-control page. So with layers you also could say, okay, the keyboard layout, I make a split point. You could even EQ one of the instruments. So each layer has its own EQ. MIDI filter, if you say, okay, I don't want to have the sustain pedal reacting, or you want to have the pitch wheel not reacting to this sound in this layer, then you can filter that. So each layer has multiple pages which you can arrange. So now going back, what I could do, of course, is save this preset. So what I will do now is save preset. It goes now in the default preset bank. I give it a name, Vecto stack 1. Just a name. Okay, now it has a name. So that is cool. If you have something cool, a nice combination, you save it, and next time you can use this in your other music track. So from that point, essentially Prisma is like a multi-layer instrument. So you can have 4 instances, and in this case it's twice Vecto. But maybe you also own Go2, and then you could say, okay, I use also Go2, and you pick Go2, and you go open Go2, and you say, okay, let's see what we can add from Go2. Well, maybe, because that was a pad sound, maybe something with the arpeggiator. Let's see how that would work out. Makes the sound totally different. So now it's not more like a pad sound combined, but because of the sequence by Go2, you need to play more in sequence time. So yeah, picture what you can do. It's really, you get very full sounds which do a lot already. And I could save this one. Okay, save preset. And then I would say save preset stack 2. So, and now what I can do now is, for instance, addressing stuff. So I could say now, for instance, And this you need to do at the very last moment. I could say use here the controllers, the multi-control faders. And one fader one I would call filter control. Okay, so I pick from the layer 1, the filter 1 frequency. From the second amount is layer 2, again the filter frequency, and then layer 3, which is then go 2, I also take the filter frequency. So okay, so I use then positive amount. So what would happen now if I open this slider, the filter should go open from all 3 sounds. Therefore, we have these 4 controls. This is very for making dynamic changes. But do this at the very last moment, because if you would change again here a preset, it not always corrects the right parameter setting. So if you would pick here another go-to preset, you see layer 2 has this addressed here, but then yeah, that's it can change the sound in a way that you don't want to have it. So it's always wise to do the multi-control page the moment when you have ready the preset. So I could say here for instance, in this one, I can use, for instance, which will be interesting, the amp decay. And the amp decay I could use to make the sound shorter, for instance, from layer 3, which is the, here it is, amp decay from layer 3, go 2. And I go now negative. You see, now it's shorter. So I even can adapt the sound to the whole. And of course, if I let this fader stay here, I also can save it again this way. Save preset, and then you see if you save it, it saves it with this setting here. So the other thing you could do is of course using the other faders for controlling the FX and that kind of things. Okay, I'm back now to the chat room. Some more people are joining. Is every bit a bit clear? Well, that's a good question. Somebody asked if you record Prisma inside your music host. Now that's still one instrument. Only Prisma is one instrument, only it uses multiple instruments now. So if I will go here and you see this is the sequencer, I don't know if you can see it. I shut down, here's the sequencer, let's see if it pops up there. And here's Prisma, you see it's active. I would press record and a bit of drums. You see here, Prisma, this is the bar. I'm pointing with my finger, but that doesn't work, of course. Double click, you see this is Prisma simply playing the notes. So Prisma is an instrument, but it uses other instruments to be an instrument. So, and then I can play it back, of course. So Prisma is totally creative. The only disadvantage that Prisma has is that sometimes the presets load a bit slower because it has to load, in this instance, 3 times a plugin. So you can compare Prisma in terms of loading a bit like a sampler. So it takes a bit of time, and therefore you see here waiting and loading the preset. So if I would do something else, I go to a default preset and see, now it loads the default preset. Loading, please wait. It clears some stuff. Otherwise, yeah, you will get some weird stuff. So here I could have Vecto again. And we simply would make something else. So I would, maybe that's a crazy thing to do because there is in the ARP sounds, Oh no, I'm looking for the crazy bells. Where are they? It's very or is it here? Synth sounds. Let me see where it is. Checking here for the right preset. These are maybe it's in the ARP sounds. Oh, here, insane stereo bells. This is insane stereo bells. It's a very nice sound. I could play hours with that, with the arpeggiator. Well, what I could do to save some CPU, although it doesn't use, is put off the delay here, and I use the delay in Prisma. So here's the FX1 send, and I would use here FX1 stereo. So now I have this sound here using, and I go back here to layers. I take again Vecto, because yeah, maybe you only have Vecto yourself. And then here in Vecto, I would press solo so that I can hear solo the sound. I go to the pad sounds, because pads are nice with this. Okay, simply just pick one. By the way, you also can do it here. So I also put solo off. You also could do it here. So here I can also load another preset. So now it combines these insane stereo bells together with a pad sound. So that's already a nice combination, I think. Not bad at all. So, and of course, it depends on your style of music. This is, of course, just a combination. And as for the same reason, maybe you also have, let's say, go to. Again, that's maybe handy to be. And let's see if we can find a nice preset. I go to solo, add a plugin, and go here, and let's see, maybe one of the sequences here, or jump on one of the Jamal presets always work out great. So you need to search, of course, for the right one. No, I go to Jamal 2. Maybe here is another one. Sequencer. No, I need to find the right one. Just give it a try. So I put on solo off. Nice combination. So I'm gonna save this one. Save preset. I'm gonna say Vecto and go to. Of course, these are pure examples of what you can do. So you see, if you go to multi-control page, I also could say, shut down the delay here. I shut down the delay inside go to, because there it uses also delay, I think. Yeah, here it is. I put it off. So very dry. Only with the pad I keep it as it is. So, and then I use the, for instance here, one of the faders, could be this one, delay, amount, and then I can use this fader here to control from layer 1. You see, it's not only the parameters, but also the FX1 send you can control. So I control from layer 1 the FX send, and from layer 3, which is go to, also the FX send 1. So watch what happens now. I pulled it maximum open. So you see, you can do also some cool stuff with this here. And of course here what I mentioned, the filters, let's see, filter control, I could say here to the layer 1, cutoff frequency. I'm not sure if the filter is used. That's of course depending on the preset, so I have to check, is the filter used in this one? Nope, it's not used. So I still can add it. I add a low pass filter to it, and so open it, and so added the low pass filter. So I still can change then the layer 1, the cutoff frequency, and then in go to I would change this filter. So I need to go layer 3, filter from go to the cutoff frequency, and I make it closing. So I go negative in amount. So when I open the fader, the filter goes down. Yeah, and the go-to, it's not going as I want to have it. So let's see why that is. Of course, you need to check the sound, how the sound is built up. Oh, it uses a notch filter, and of course that you don't hear it as the same as it would be with a low pass filter. So let's take another filter here. Take a low pass filter. That changes, of course, the sound. And see what happens now. I need to adjust the sound a bit better. Yeah, it keeps on the initializing. Not fully working as I expected. This is a thing which is, if you already address the parameter using the multi-control page, and then you change some parameters in the synthesizer itself, the path it's changing seems to be locked in some way. So that we are hunting this little, I'm not sure if it is a bug, but it's a complex thing, because that's why I did mention that if you have the sound ready, then start adding the multi-control page. Then you don't have surprises. What I had now with go to, that the changes to the filter is just it changes it, but it's not the way I fully want to have it. You hear the bells go down in the filter. This sound, it's not perfect, but it's simply to show you what you can do with Prisma in combination, simply by using Vecto twice and go to. Can you record each MIDI controller layer separate to a recorded track? Yeah, well, this if you use so if I I'm not sure if the track is still here. Okay. So let me try this, because in Cubase you need to put on this, and then you can record it as a parameter. So let's play it. I just record now. Okay, so let's play it back. So this one should be recorded. And I do read automation. Let's see, this should be available. Just watch that fader. Yeah, there it goes. So, and then of course it shows here in show automation. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. Here it shows up. This is this parameter I did automate. I guess you can see it now there. So yeah, I mean, it's from that point, Prisma is essentially a you can treat it as an instrument. Only the way it makes its sounds, it's by combining the Ropapen plugins. So another thing is, of course, with now you can load in Vecto, and please download the latest version of Prisma, which is now version up here it is 1.0.2f. Download it, run it, then Prisma will show up. If it doesn't show up, check here and do rescan plugin, and it will pop up. Of course, in the very near future, we will have presets of Prisma using Vecto, so that will pop up maybe already this month. We're working on new presets anyhow for Vecto. And very often we then also create some new presets for Prisma. So here is the manager, which is also inside Prisma. And these presets I made now are inside the default presets. And I will edit them a bit, and then most likely also will put them in the library. This was the first stack we did, which was a combination of two synth sounds. Yeah, it sounds very expensive. Really very nice sound. Vecto Stack 1, I call it, and that will for sure appear. And maybe I should upload it to the info section, because below YouTube you have an info section, and maybe I should simply upload it. Although you can also simply do it yourself by using the preset Monks Arrive from the Pets bank and the Vecto 2019 from the synth sounds. Simply put them together and you have this sound. Yeah, Prisma is for free for anybody who owns a Ropapen instrument. So if you have Go 2 only, or Vecto only, or only Blue 2 or Predator 2, you register your product, and in My Products you can click in the top section. We have two deals. One deal is RPA mod, which is a very nice free FX with very nice chorus, flanger, phaser. And then we have Prisma, which is indeed a free product in which you can load then your Ropapen instruments. Yeah, some people did ask me, is it possible to load other plugins inside Prisma? That's currently not possible, because yeah, if then something crashes or doesn't work, we get all the support questions dropped in. And then, yeah, so we have no guarantee that any third-party instrument will work correctly, because yeah, there we have less control about that. So maybe in the future we think about it, maybe to have that as an option. Then you could use Prisma to combine Vecto, for instance, with Massive, or whatever you have in your collection. Okay, so I'm going back to the chat here. So Jonas, can you record each MIDI controller layer separate to a recorded track? You mean the separate layer? I'm not sure what you besides mean with this question. It's of course the or do you mean the whole sound? The whole sound comes out of Prisma, of course, and so if you want to record it still separate, you need to make an audio track from it, and then mute the other layers, and then do the other layer and do the other layer again. So okay. So back to Vecto. So let's go back to Vecto again. Is it a bit clear with Prisma? So if there are any questions still, just drop it in the chat room, and then we go back to Vecto as a single product. So here we have Vecto again. In the start of the video, I did mention that we work on making it NCAS compatible. Hopefully this will be also released this month. And we work on new preset range. And what I told also in Facebook, that today I wanted to make live a sound together with you guys to show, for instance, how I do some stuff. But here, for instance, Jamal 03, that's a new bank. So here we have some new stuff from Jamal. Some nice FX sound, Foley sounds using the retrigger modes in the oscillator. So these are totally new sounds. This one, by the way, uses FM, because with Vecto you also have 4 oscillators which you can use in a FM setup. You see here, oscillator 1 modulates oscillator 2. The oscillator routing doesn't go to the filter, but to oscillator 2. So it's not only doing subtractive, but you also can do a little bit of FM synthesis inside Vecto. So I'm just playing now. It's very nice sound. Yeah, good question here. So this is a very nice sound also from Jamal. Ixtal Morn. Jamal uses the pan flute together with a vocal sound. Also I see a percussion waveform and a glass waveform combined. Then he uses the 2 filters with a notch filter, nice reverb setting. And yeah, YX3D is asking, is there a multiple output in Prisma? Not yet. That we have not that much. We have a multiple output, for instance, for Punch, but for Prisma we did not have that many questions or requests. Of course, yeah, Prisma already has 4 FX built in. So, but maybe you want to use a typical other FX on it. So currently that is not possible. There's no multi-output version of Prisma currently. What there is a standalone version. So if you install the PC version, you can see on your desktop this here, down here. It's Vecto and Prisma. So you can Prisma or use it also as a standalone on your computer. And in the Mac version, you need to select it in the application folder, Vecto. And there you see this icon, and then you can double click it and put that in your this bar down in the dock. You can lock it to the dock. So Prisma is also available as a standalone. Okay, so back now to Vecto. Some new presets will pop up very soon. Yeah, the very cool thing about Prisma is that everything is in front and you still can do a lot of things. Because just like what I said, the routing doesn't only go to the filter, but you also can use it as modulation to other oscillators. It adds a lot of additional features and deepness to this synthesizer. This one uses a arpeggiator, and then you see the XY is running around, and there are some percussion sounds used here. Because there are plenty of percussion sounds on board. So if I would create now a new preset, let's simply show you now as last thing what you, for instance, could do with Prisma. I take a default preset, and then, for instance, I would say one of the FX samples. And the FX samples are all kind of weird stuff. So from metal points to a plastic tube to... You see here, this one, okay, it's like kind of drop in water. This also. So this one is interesting, for instance. And you could use the sub-oscillator, but the tuning is maybe not fully. But this could be interesting as a kind of layer thing for making a synth D50 type of sound. You know what this is? This is a tube with a spring inside of it, which is a kind of percussion instrument. And it's maybe sampled somewhere here. But that's the cool thing about if you have a certain range of samples, they keep on sounding cool even if you play them lower or higher. Here it becomes dirty. So let's use FX11. And then I'll say, okay, this is a nice sound. Let's see how the tuning is. I pick one oscillator 2. Well, the tuning is a bit atonic, but I keep it as it is, and then I use here the spreading to make a multiple oscillator sound. I send this to filter 1, and let's take filter 1. Sorry, filter 1, we take a 12 dB low pass filter. I use keyboard tracking on the filter so that it's nice over the whole range of keyboard. The FX, the oscillator 1 goes also to filter 1. I don't want to have that. I want to have that one different. So I'm going to send that one. You could send directly to the FX. So I send the oscillator 1 directly to the FX1. Or I could say no, only FX2. And FX2 I use then the nice reverb. So what I'm doing now is just simply talking about what I would do just simply by creating a preset. And it's of course simply see how things go out. So I have this sound, only it's not finished yet, so I'm gonna pull down a bit this. So I need this one a bit fuller. So I take an additional oscillator, and what I can use is the analog waveform, square waveform, shut down, and then I make a PW pulse width modulation sound. So the symmetry I'm going to modulate. Also, this one goes to filter 1. So now I use the filter envelope. So this is the oscillator 3. Let's see what happens if I put on oscillator 2 again. So I want to make a more grainy down sound. So what I could do then is sending the filter 1 to FX1. So I could here use the chorus, and then I pull up again this. Okay, so it's a balance between the oscillators. I pull up again this. It's not the sound I'm really seeking, so I still need to experiment a bit. So I open again. Okay, so sometimes you run into something cool. I pull down the sustain. Not the taste I want to have. So now I run into something which I think, no, it's not interesting. So let's go on and simply pick a different waveform here. That's, I think, a bit better. Let's pick another filter. Instead of 12 dB, 24 dB, low pass. Maybe not reverb or delay. No, I go back to reverb again. It's not bad. This one is better than when I started. So now I use FX16, which is most likely one of the metal things I used to sample it. Maybe the pulse width modulation is a bit too fast. So I'm doing things which I normally would do without talking. There it is. I pulled back the speed from the symmetry modulation a bit, and now I hear, yeah, this sound is okay. So I'm going to save this one, save preset as. It's in the default patch, and of course it will land up in the synth bank. I would call this D March, because it's March. So this is the March 2019. So it's a bit like the 50 sound or maybe wave station type of thing. And then it's safe. Of course, I don't need to forget to give it a category. So here I see synth, It's also a bit of a pad sound. The XY is not used. It has a bit spacey character. These things I still need to adjust. So these are if the sound is really finished. Then I need to check this, of course. I need to address the modulation wheel still. So this is, for instance, modulation wheel you can use for vibrato, but we add an all synthesizer modulation wheel also in the filter, so it's very easy going up to add the modulation wheel. So nice. Yeah, that one is very cool. Save preset. And it's not the finished one, but what I will do after this live stream, I will make that you can download this D-March preset in the download info section. So I don't have it here anymore. 1 second. Because this metal thing you can hear, which is in this sound. So it's a sound based on subtractive synthesis by using a saw wave and a square wave, which is modulated with an LFO. And this metal thing, which I sampled and tuned. And you see, as a single sound, not that exciting, but as you combine it together with the other things, it's really very nice. Yeah, cool. And of course, this sound I succeeded, but if you would play back this live stream, you will see that I started out with another sample. I started out with doing this, that, talked about, and that's how I make the sounds. So now I'm talking, but then I think, no, it doesn't tell me anything, this sound, and should I change this? I do that, I do that. And of course I have a lot of experience, but it doesn't mean that I always lucky in getting a good sound. Sometimes also I need to say, okay, it was a good attempt, but forget it. But now by simply, I was almost there, and then you see in the stream I turn down the speed a bit from the symmetry modulation, and then suddenly the sound was there, which I was looking for, or maybe not looking for, but that I could say, hey, this sounds good. Okay. Yeah, we are almost to an end already. As mentioned, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I saw today that we have this YouTube channel is not monetized, of course, but it's because it's simply showing tutorials and has nothing to do. Hey, funny enough, I thought we have over 1 million views for all the videos in all these years. That's a lot. And we have about almost 8,000 subscribers. So if you like the tutorials and also, of course, these live streams, subscribe and put on this, they have a little bell, then you see that there is a new video. So yeah, you can watch this video back again in the playlist, live streams. There you will find all the live streams. And maybe I should put together the popular ones together and combine them maybe in another playlist, because we had a few months ago, we had a very nice one about Bluetooth, how to make a pad with Bluetooth. Of course, last week was very good with Submoon Bass 2 about this string model. And sure, it's fun. And so guys, next week there is no live stream because I'm not in the studio. But in about over 2 weeks again, I hope to see you guys back again. And most likely I can show then again some more new presets for Vecto. Hopefully then Vecto is also released with Anchor S support. And yeah, you never know what pops up. So I would say thank you for watching, and see you next time, guys.